Hare Krishna. So we'll start with chapter number 6. So it is the extension of chapter number 5. No. So what happens at the end of chapter number 5 is Narada Muni says about his past life, how he was son of a maid servant, and just by little bit of endeavor in that path of devotional service, how much endeavor a small 5-year-old boy can put. Hmm? He doesn't have any maturity, any knowledge. He doesn't have a high birth. He doesn't have any proper education. He just have a very insignificant, very minimal association of Bhakti Vedantas. He just served them and took their remnants. And in reciprocation, what they did, they just gave him how to perform Bhakti Yoga, or how to meditate on the Lord, how to chant the name of Lord, like that. The fundamentals of Bhakti process they taught Narada Muni. And while they are going, so they left, and Narada Muni he says that I took their message seriously, and I followed that path, and I became like this. Means like Narada Muni has a spiritual body, like once Narada Muni goes to Ravana, and he says something which is not pleasing to Ravana, and Ravana, out of his anger, he took out his sword and tried to cut off the head of Narada Muni. And the sword passed through the Narada Muni, but nothing happened to Narada Muni. And Ravana was shocked. Oh, where do you get this kind of body? I would like to have this kind of body. And then Narada Muni says, it is like by the mercy of Lord Ram. Then he says, how can I get the mercy of Lord Ram? No, you can approach Lord Ram in many ways. You can be a devotee, or you can please him, or something like that, or you can be an enemy of Lord Ram. You can get the mercy of Lord Ram even by becoming enemy of Ram also. He said like that. Then Ravana thought, I cannot be so sattvic or so much, I don't have the patience to be so much devotee to grow in devotion service. So let me be the enemy, and he decided that like that. So I don't know it is how authentic this story is, but it is just I heard from some authorized sources only. So
Prabhu, if Mataji asked one question, Vasanta Mataji, like if we say Narada is an incarnation of
yeah,
Krishna.
I'll address Mataji. We had a discussion. You joined
Oh,
late and you
sorry.
are mentioning.
Okay, sorry. So, could you please tell in simple sentence, Prabhu, what is that answer?
No, I will tell you, Mataji. It will come.
Okay.
Don't worry. It will come in this
Okay.
session. Okay, you just flow, go through this session. Okay. So Narada Muni says about his life, previous life, and then he says, I just followed the advice of Bhakti Vedantas, and then I got this position as Narada Muni, a personal associate of Krishna or Vishnu, like that. So then at the end, Narada Muni, he actually uh, teaches his personal mantra, means like how we worship. He teaches the mantra to Vyasdev, and then and he says, no, like you put your endeavor in Bhakti Yoga process. So then what happens? Then Vyasdev develops some inquisitiveness. He asked, so I would like to know in details what happened after that Bhaktivedanta left, how you look past your life, and how you attain this, this body, uh, and this like how you made your spiritual advancement. Means what kind of sadhana or what kind of procedure you followed, how you led your life. That's he would like to know. So here Prabhupada writes, like a spiritual master, like is like it is said that Guru Tattva is only one. Means like all the gurus are of same nature. Means Guru Tattva, it is that's why it is called Guru Tattva. So the Guru Tattva will be like that. It will Guru Tattva is expansion of is Lord when when he comes to personally rescue or personally help the conditioned souls. He comes as his Guru. No, it is said that Lord as internally he teaches us as a Paramatma, and externally he comes as Guru. Okay, so there is no difference between Lord and Guru, and there is no difference between Paramatma and Guru. Paramatma is one who instructs us within the from within the heart. And when it comes to Guru is the Lord coming from the external way. Okay, so Lord will, that Guru Tattva, Guru will teach, Guru will impart the knowledge based on the like how much enthusiasm we actually uh, show him. Means we should be very enthusiastic, we should be very submissive. No, that's why Krishna says one should inquire humbly by rendering service. By rendering service, we will be able to please Guru, and by inquiring humbly, we will be able to get more and more knowledge from Guru. Mm. So if unless, that's why there is strong emphasis in all the scriptures. If you see all our scriptures, if you see Bhagavad Gita, if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, and if you see Mahabharata also, it is like question and answers. One disciple will be asking questions and Guru will be answering the disciple. So all these great scriptures are in the form of questions and answers. So based on the inquisitiveness, based on the mood of the disciple, Guru will reciprocate accordingly. So when Vyasadeva asked this question, then Narada Muni started saying about, no, Vyasadeva inquires about the previous life, Narada Muni's previous life, and uh, he actually he says what happens after Bhaktivedanta's lift. Okay, after Bhaktivedanta's means the devotees of the Lord who stayed for 4 months along with in the house where Narada Muni's mother was serving. When they left, then one day what happened? Like his mother, Narada Muni's mother, who was only shelter for Narada Muni, who is like, no, she is a single mother and she wanted to do so much for Narada Muni, but she was not able to do because she was not an independent lady. Hmm? She want to take good care of him. She want to provide many things to Narada Muni, but because of her limitations, she was not able to do anything. And one day what happened? No, uh, when she went out to milk a cow in dark in one night. So one maybe, in the village what happened, they actually milk the cows early in the morning, right? So early in the morning or late in the night they milk the cows. So one night what happened, she went out to milk the cow and she was bitten by a snake. And there what happened, like and she actually left the body. And s- when this incident happened in the life of Narada Muni took it as a Lord's mercy. No? So the advanced devotees, like the devotees of the Lord, they will be able to see the hand of Lord in every situation. If you see Srila Prabhupada's life also, when his business was not going so well, and one at that point of time a robbery happened in his business, no, and a person who was working actually robbed the entire shop, and then he left off. So at that point of time, Srila Prabhupada's no, the son called Srila Prabhupada and said, so we have been robbed and uh, our no entire property has been stolen. Then at that point of time, Srila Prabhupada just quoted the shloka, saying that how Lord Krishna, I'm not able to remember that shloka, Yasyaham anugrunahi harisheta dhannishenai, something like that. Okay. So in that shloka, what he says is, when Lord have mercy on his devotees, he will give whatever is required for his devotee. But when the Lord gives special mercy to his devotee, then he will take everything from that devotee, so that he will be utterly dependent on the devotee, on the Lord. So in the case of Narada Muni also, Narada Muni's mother was very affectionate, and he was only shelter for Narada Muni. He was very young, very, no, he was a kid of 5 years old. No, at that point of time, his mother was bitten by a snake, and she left the body. So And and taking this as a Lord's special mercy, Narada Muni left the place, and he didn't, and he just left for north. No, like it is said that in the north there Himalayas are there, and there are no great saintly people will be there in the Himalayas. Like that, it is said in the Puranas. So whenever anybody wants to live, or whenever anybody wants to take renounced order of life, they leave the north. Okay, so in the same way, Narada Muni left the home and traveled towards the north, and he actually it is said that no, like whenever we take any process of devotional service seriously, then immediately some kind of test will come in our life. No, like in all the devotees' life, there are tests of different kinds. Okay, so if he says like no, in the case of Dhruva Maharaj when he was meditating in the forest, no, there was test for him, and when there is a uh, like even if any great saintly people, like if you see the life of Vishwamitra, he was taking the process of devotional service seriously, and Indra tested him. mm. So in the case of Haridas Thakur also, he was tested by directly from Maya Devi only. So sometimes our mind will test us, sometimes the other demigods will test, and sometimes even Lord can will test also. Lord will not personally do that, but he will allow the test happen in the life of a devotee so that he will surrender. In the case of Narada Muni's life, he lost his mother, and he was traveling towards the north. And at that point of time, Narada Muni says that he passed through many forests and villages and towns, and he passed through some mines of gold, mines of where all the valuable minerals. So at that point of time, it's a allurement, right? Like there is a gold, and he can just make use of that gold and get rich and stay happily in this metal world. But Narada Muni was not tempted by all these no, valuable things. So he just started walking off, and he finally he reached a point where he was very tired, and he was both physically and mentally. And he passed through many forests also, and he reached a pond, and he actually refreshed himself, and he drank the water from that pond, and then he took bath and sat down underneath a banyan tree, and he started meditating on the Lord, and as shown by the Bhaktivedantis. And immediately Narada Muni was able to see Paramatma within his heart, and he was okay. I'm actually not following the slides. Okay, so he was able to see Paramatma within his heart. Okay, and this vision was as soon as he sees the Paramatma within the heart, he's actually started crying, and he's all his like it is not like if we see any of no anything that is mesmerizing or anything blissful in our life, it will be some like if you see some very beautiful scenic situation or any marvelous a masterpiece of art or anything, or like in a movie or something like that, we get mesmerized. At that point of time, only very minute part of our brain or heart will get involved, and then we experience a great pleasure in that. But when it comes to having a darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narada Muni says all his senses become spiritually enlivened, and every limb or every part of his body become uh, what is quotes that exceedingly overpowered by happiness. Every part of my body become separately enlivened, means like when we see any of the any like if for example take a movie. Now that's what most of us have common experiences, right? Any movie or any kind of any drama or something like that, maybe our mind or our emotional intelligence or our emotions might get enlivened or get satisfied. But when we have the darshan of the Lord, every limb or every sense of the our body will be like fully satisfied, and there will be not much like there will not be any greater satisfaction than that. So but when he was experiencing such a blissful state, that's why when you see the devotees in ecstasy, they'll behave like a madman, because they are not able to tolerate that happiness, and they are not able to express or they are not able to experience that they are not like means like for suppose if we take one gulab jamun, we'll have certain amount of pleasure. But if the same tongue has to experience the pleasure of thousands of gulab jamun simultaneously, that tongue cannot withstand that thing. Okay, and it will be like I'm just giving a gross example. Okay, so like our senses have a limited capacity to experience certain pleasure, but the spiritual ecstasy, when it comes, our senses cannot manage themselves. That's why a ecstatic person will become behaves like a crazy man. Okay, so when Narada Muni was in that spiritual ecstasy upon the seeing the darshan of the Lord, that's like that's why in spiritual say even if in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, also even in the case of what is his name, mm, uh, Markandeya Rishi. So there are many examples when the devotees see the Lord, they are fully satisfied and they don't desire anything other than Lord's darshan. So that's why darshan of the Lord is so rare. Like if you take darshan of the Lord once, then our life is fully satisfied. That's why the sages do tapasya for thousands and thousands of years to get the darshan or a glimpse of the Lord. So such is the rarity of Lord's darshan, because Lord's form is totally spiritual, and when we see the Lord form, then our experience, like all our no, that the happiness quota, that how much our happiness that we can experience is beyond the limit. Okay, so when Narada Muni was in such a state, then he suddenly lost the sight of Lord's vision, and then Narada Muni started wondering what happened, why this Lord does he got upset, and he tried meditate and regain that form again. But when the Lord found out his situation, when out of his mercy for him, despite of his efforts, my in meditation I could not, like he's not able to get that vision back. Okay, so when Lord sees that, when Lord sees that out of mercy for Narada Muni, he started speaking to Narada Muni. Okay, so he says that Narada Muni is actually this picture is wrong. Okay, Lord doesn't give any darshan like that. So he actually he only gives that was the example of Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, so Lord says to Narada Muni, like Narada Muni in his previous life, he says that I am I showed myself to you once just to increase your desire for me. The more one hankers for me, the more he will be freed from the material desires. So this is the mercy of the Lord. Actually, if we take ourselves, our lives also, if we first started chanting Hare Krishna mantra, we will experience great pleasure. Like in the first, in the initial days, maybe 1 hour, maybe it may last for 1 month, or maybe few weeks also, or sometimes in a few days also. Okay, so we'll have great pleasure, and we'll be excited for everything, like every Mangala Aarti we attend, every Narsingadev prayers and Tulsi Aarti, or every mantra that we chant, we will be so attentive, we'll be experiencing so much pleasure. But with time, everything will go off. And so if somebody is giving a very nice class and or very nice nice kirtan, we will just say, oh, okay, and we just take it like some we don't feel much of excitement after few days in devotion service. Why? Because in the beginning Lord gives the taste, so that he will so that we will get engaged, we will get will hanker for him. Mm. So through that hankering, we get free from the material contamination. We make we make a great spiritual advancement. It is said that whatever advancement that we make is in the initial days of our spiritual life. We make greater advancement, like we make great progress in the initial days of our spiritual practice. But afterwards we develop familiarity, we develop fault finding, we develop mm, we blaspheme, we develop negative attitude towards devotees, or negative attitude towards Lord's paraphernalia or Lord's programs. No? We think, okay, this past time I already heard, or no, same darshan, same prasadam every time. So that kind of attitude develops in us. So that is the why our spiritual progress becomes little lesser when compared to what we had in the initial days of our spiritual life. So in the case of Narada Muni, Lord gives the special darshan to Narada Muni, and so that he will hanker for his darshan. So his Lord says, by service by service to me, the devotees, even for a short period of time, one becomes firmly fixed in me, and after giving up all the deplorable world, one becomes my associate. Okay, so when once does when one due to that hankering, he will actually engage himself more and more in process of devotional service, and then after giving up this temporary material body, or like giving up this world, they will become the personal associate of the Lord. That's what Lord says to Narada Muni. And then Lord gives a benediction to Narada Muni. Okay, he says to Narada Muni, say that even the time factor cannot destroy one's devotion service. By my mercy, your memory will continue even at the time of the creation or annihilation. Okay, so it is one of the question asked by Vyasadeva. No, like you are saying that you are a son of maid servant in your previous life. That was in the previous Brahma's life, but how could you able to remember so much of, like, actually the time destroys everything, no, like at the time of death we have to forget, will be forgetting everything what we have achieved in this life, everything about our family, about our intellectual abilities, about your no, work and everything. We forget everything. When we take birth again, we are like, plain blank slate or blank board, and we have to start from the scratch. So Vyasdev asked to Narada Muni, no, if you are saying that your previous life was in the another Brahma's lifetime, and how could you able to retain this knowledge, all these memories from your previous life? Mm. So for that, Narada Muni says that this was the benediction that is given by Lord himself. Lord says that time factor will not destroy all this knowledge. Okay, and after full, uh, so after Lord gives this instructions and says to him, then Narada Muni actually practices. Narada Muni actually engages himself in the process of devotional service, and he actually wandered from one holy place to another holy place, and he performed the process of Bhakti Yoga with greater determination. So then, and finally, so during the process, Narada Muni says, no, he quotes a nice sloka. Namanyanantasya hata tripta patan, means he says, I repeatedly chanted Lord's holy name and fame, and ignoring all formalities of the material world. And I traveled being satisfied, humble and non-envious. Okay. So these are the qualities that we have to acquired. What is the purpose, what is the goal of our life is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. If you are able to do that, nothing is required, no formalities, no all these things, no, like these formalities are the is the process of sadhana. Why we are doing the sadhana bhakti is to attain bhava bhakti or prema bhakti. Once we attain the prema bhakti, we don't have to do, we don't have to be so much attached to the all these formalities. Okay, so so when Narada Muni reaches that stage, no, for that for that we have to continuously do our sadhana, and we should be always satisfied and humble and non-envious. Okay, these are the qualities. And Maharaj stresses on the uh, principle of humility so much so that no, this is the most important factor in the process of bhakti, because what is coming for us to not to grow in bhakti is our false ego, and if you have false ego, then we will not have humility. So for us to have humility, we should be humble, and we should be always self-satisfied. If you hanker for any material things, anything, then we'll not be able to hanker for Krishna or devotional service, bhakti. Mm. So, and humility and always engaging ourselves in the process of bhakti and non-envious nature. Mm. If we are envious of anybody, means we are indirectly envious of Krishna. That will also is is not a positive factor in the process of devotional service. Mm. So when he followed all these qualities in due course of time, uh, he says, I was absorbed in the Lord Krishna and thus detached and freed from all the material taints and met with death. Mm. Quitting the material body made of 5 elements, I received the spiritual body befitting the associate of the Lord. Mm. So So at that point of time, he quit the body in his previous life, and then he immediately attained the his spiritual body. And at the end of the previous kalpa, when Lord breathed in at the time of universal devastation, I entered into the body along with Brahma. Okay, so in the previous life, when Lord annihilated entire material creation, when Lord breathed inside, he entered into the body of Lord himself along with Brahma. And after uh, then again, like it's this metal in this metal world, the destruction and creation, everything is a cyclic manner, right? And after the next creation, after 1,000 yuga cycles, when Brahma woke, and I also appeared along with the 10 rishis. Okay, so since then, by Lord Vishnu's grace, I traveled unrestrictedly both in the spiritual and material worlds since I was fixed in the unbroken devotion service. So, what is the main thing that we have to learn is everything or anything related to bhakti is indestructible. Anything that we do, no, if we chant even the name of Krishna, or no, or even offer one flower to Krishna, or even if you do anything that is related to bhakti, is an eternal credit. So you chanted this many times Krishna's name. Sir, you offered this many flowers. You did so much of service. You heard Srimad Bhagavatam so many times, or you recited Srimad Bhagavatam so many times. This is an eternal credit on our account. Okay, so anything related to bhakti is eternal. So we should be much more and more greedy to accumulate more and more of our devotional service. So that's the reason that no, Prabhupada says we should be always in somehow or other we should be always remembering Krishna and no, performing devotional service. So thus he says, Nardamuni says, thus I traveled constantly singing Harikatha and playing this veena gifted by me, gifted to me by the Lord. As soon as I chant the Lord, whose activities are pleasing to hear, at once appear in my heart as if called for. Okay. So after that, Nardamuni says, no, Harikatha is the most suitable boat for crossing the material ocean for those who are full of anxieties due to constant desire for sense objects. Okay, so Nardamuni quotes that shloka: "Etad yatura chittana matra sparshe chaya muhu bhavasindu plavo drusto haricharya anuvarnanam." So now, like when it comes to Vyasadeva's situation, Vyasadeva was dissatisfied, due to this metal contamination or being associated with so much of material things when he is writing Vedas and when he is writing Mahabharata. He was only dealing with matter, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. You enjoy, you suffer, and all these things are happening. And even that impacted the mind of even the author of the Vedas and Puranas. So then Narada Muni is advising, giving that advice that you just chant the holy name of Krishna, or glory, or the Harikatha, then that will be beneficial. Okay. So now Narada Muni is suggesting that the soul afflicted by the lust and greed is not satisfied by Ashtanga Yoga or other paths by direct service to Lord Mukunda. So if you take the position of Vyasadeva, no, if you see the 24 incarnations of the Lord Vishnu, while Shaunak Rishi was explaining, right? One of the expansion was Narada Muni, and one of the expansion was Vyasadeva himself. So you are asking, right, the question, like if Narada Muni was one of the expansion, one of the incarnations of Lord, then why is he suffering, as why is he has to come as a small child? Or now if you take the example of Vyasadeva, he is himself is the incarnation of, it is said that he is also incarnation of Shakti Avashavatar of Lord. So then why he has to glorify the Lord? Because he himself is, you are saying that he himself is the incarnation of Lord, no? So it is said that, like, Krishna is the original Purusha, and he is the cause of all causes. If you take even an ordinary soul is also a part and parcel of Krishna, but just because it is not connected to Krishna, like only way of being connected to Krishna is the process of devotional service. If you are not connected to Krishna through the process of devotional service, then you will be like, you will have to undergo the material conditioning. Mm. So if you take the example, once in it will come in 10th canto, what happened, like when Krishna was there in Dwaraka, and one of the Brahmana's son was, Brahmana loses his son, because as soon as he takes birth, immediately that child passes away. So it happens like, maybe 7 or 8 children passes away like that, and he actually comes to King Ugrasena. Mm. So Krishna was the actually not king of Dwaraka. He was actually the kingmaker. Okay. So Ugrasena was on the throne, but everything was managed by Krishna only. Okay. Now this Brahmana comes to Ugrasena and complains that you are so evil-minded ruler, or you are doing your hmm, what do you call, the governance so much in a adharmic way that my son has passed. It is unheard of a son passing before the father. So in those days, a son before passing before a father is a strange thing. Okay. So I'm dharmic, I'm totally pure in my all my activities. Hmm? uh, and and I can only think of the reason that if the king is polluted, then its effect will fall on the citizens. So because you are adharmic, you are doing something wrong, that's why my children are passing away. So you actually do something about it, he says, he complains this. And Krishna was hearing that, and Krishna was not reacting. So every time Brahmana's son passes away, he comes and curses and he scolds, and he gives all the bad words to Ugrasena and the assembly of the Dwaraka, and then he goes away. So one time what happened, Arjuna used happened to be there. So when Arjuna heard these things from this Brahmana, and he immediately, in order to like in order to be he Arjuna is a in order to do some service to Ugrasena, he said, I will protect your sons. No, like next time when your wife is about to deliver the baby, you just call me, then I will protect you. You cannot blame Ugrasena like that. So then next time when Ugrasena, like that Brahmana's wife is about to deliver, he comes and calls Arjuna. So he calls Arjuna and he says, and Arjuna comes there, and that Brahman's wife gives birth, and again that child passes away. And like before that Brahman wife delivered the child, he actually covered entire house of that Brahmana with arrows so that nobody can go into that. Even air cannot pass into it. So, but even after making such an arrangement, that Brahmana's baby passes away. So then that Brahmana comes and says to Arjuna, "You are the worthless fellow. I trusted you," like that. No? And this Arjuna becomes so much upset. No? Like when he was giving that word to that Brahmana, Arjuna says that if I fail to protect your child, I will end my life by entering into fire. So when he was about to enter into the fire, Krishna stops him. So you don't do anything like that. We shall go and bring that child. Okay. And Krishna uh, calls for his one of the divine chariots, and then they goes beyond the universe, and they finally reaches the abode of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu welcomes, like Karnodaksha Vishnu. He's not like ordinary Vishnu. Okay. They reaches to the Karnodaksha Vishnu, and Karnodaksha Vishnu welcomes Arjuna and Krishna and then speaks with them. And he says that Brahmana's children are there here with me only, so you can take them. And so and he gives, and then Lord Vishnu says, I wanted to have darshan of both of you, that's why I kidnapped the Brahmana boys. So from this pastime, what we understand now, Karnodaksha Vishnu is the cause of entire universes. Now he is all pervading, he knows everything. And because he wanted to have the darshan of Krishna and Arjuna, he actually kidnapped the Brahmana boys. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes in that pastime, unless Krishna's sanction is there, nobody can have the darshan of Krishna. So even Karnodaksha Vishnu is the immediate Purusha expansion of Krishna himself, but still Karnodaksha Vishnu does not have the ability to take the darshan of Krishna directly with his vision unless there is a sanction of Vishnu. And there are different pastimes of about Lord Brahma also, Lord Shiva also. So from this pastime, what we understand, even if Narada Muni is the Shakti Avash incarnation of Lord Krishna, even Vyāsadeva, the Shakti Avash incarnation of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, but still they are expansions only. There is a great deal of difference between his expansions and the original Purusha, original person, or original uh, Anadiradir, right? So Krishna is Param Purusha, means Krishna is the cause of all the incarnations. So is original person. So now the Vyāsadeva, who was the Shakti incarnation of Krishna himself, he has to glorify Krishna. So when Krishna is glorified, when the Krishna within the heart is pleased, then we feel satisfaction in our life. Otherwise, we will feel very dissatisfied and we will be lost. No, that's why if you see, like there will be a lot of rich people, but there will be so much dissatisfaction in their life because they are not able to satisfy Krishna within their heart. But if you see the life of simple devotees or if simple brahmacharis who have nothing in their life, they will be sitting in one corner of the temple and they will be totally blissful. Why? Because the Krishna within their heart is very pleased with them. When Krishna within the heart is pleased with their service, then they will be blissful in their life. So that's the reason. No, like for for anybody to achieve, anyone to achieve, the perfection of life, they have to engage in the process of devotional service to please Krishna through their activity. The service done for the sense gratification is binding to this material world. It will be the cause of repeated birth and death. But the service done for the sake of Krishna is liberating. It will take us back to Godhead. So that is the essence. So now Narada Muni gives that some essence, and he says, okay, you write, you actually glorify, you you write the glories of Krishna, and and such a glorification, when you write such a thing about glorification of Krishna, it will be pleasing to Krishna and it will be pleasing to the devotees, and it is a great benediction for the all society, all our entire creation in general. So after saying that, Narada Muni leaves the cottage of Vyāsadeva, and Vyāsadeva started writing Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the end of this chapter. If you have any questions or comments, you can take it here.
Haribol Prabhu, nice Prabhu, wonderful class. Prabhu, my Prabhu is telling
Uh,
Narada Muni previous life you mentioned.
yeah,
Before that
Narada Muni. Yeah,
he was
actually,
a Gandharva.
yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll mention Narada Muni's previous life. Okay, Narada Muni actually, he was created after four Kumaras. No, like no, this is like in every universe this thing repeats and repeats. Okay, so in one time, what happened, in one creation, Brahmaji created four Kumaras, and he said to four Kumaras, "You go ahead and start, get married, and can you mute Mataji?
Okay, Prabhu.
So you help me in the creation." And four Kumaras outright rejected them. He says, "We are not going to get married. We are going to stay lifelong brahmacharis, and we will be meditate on Krishna." And okay, then Brahma said, "Okay, okay, that's fine," and he let them go. And next, like in that process, he creates Narada Muni also, and he asked Narada Muni, "Okay, you also get married and help me in this process of creation. No, this this your elder brothers, they actually rejected and went off. No, and this Narada Muni, what he does, he actually, he says, that this material world is, this material world is binding, and this material world is there is no happiness in this material world. And why are you asking me to go to, procreate? I don't want to do that. No, but this time Lord Brahmaji gets a little bit of, it was not so easy for Brahma to handle himself, because he already, sometimes, it is in our experience also there, right? If one person, like if a person goes in the office and he works there, and his boss gives hard time, and while traveling back, in the traffic jam, some co-driver, he will also gives trouble to him. And after coming home, he like on his way home, or like some friends called him, and he didn't had a good time with his friends also. And finally, after coming home, his wife does something very silly mistake, and immediately he takes up all that anger and put everything on his wife. I'm just giving example. Okay, so now Brahmaji actually was not able to tolerate this, and he says, "You fall down. You are such a rascal. You have, you go and take birth in as a Gandharva." So from there, from the Brahma Loka, he falls down to Gandharva Loka, and in the Gandharva Loka, he takes birth as Upabarhana. So the Upabarhana was a very beautiful Gandharva, and he sings nicely. And all the ladies in Gandharva are after him. And what happened once, all the different demigods, they actually, call for a meeting, like Harikatha, Bhagavat Sapta, or like, or 24-hour kirtan, like that kind of thing, where to glorify Lord Hari. So there, out of no intoxication, or out of what you call, mm, uh, illusion, or I don't know, due to, when like due to agitation or something like that, he, instead of glorifying Lord Hari, he started singing cinema songs. That's what Prabhupada writes. Okay, means some romantic songs. So, and this enraged all the devatas, and he says, "You fall down, you are acting like a Sudra, you go and take birth in a Sudra family." So from there he falls down, and he becomes the son of a maid servant. And after he becomes son of maid servant, he get the association of, uh, Bhakti Vedantis, and then he will actually, uh, from there he becomes Narada Muni. So from his life, what we can observe is, when anybody takes the process of devotion service, if we see Narada Muni's life, Narada Muni fell from Brahma Loka to Gandharva Loka, from Gandharva Loka to, Bhuloka, but still Lord did never let him go because he sent Bhaktivedanta for his rescue. Mm. And then when even after Bhaktivedanta is left, Lord took care. Lord took care that no, he progresses in the process of devotional service. That's why Lord says no, he is a well-wisher of everybody. Mm. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. So the if the incidents in the life of Narada Muni doesn't happen in the way that has happened, that has happened because after Bhaktivedanta instructs, his mother passed away. You know, after his mother passed away, he left, and after he left and he meditated, he has a vision of Lord, and then he loses it. And after losing it, he becomes more and more convicted that yes, there is that I can achieve the Lord. Then he finally achieves the Lord. So Lord arranges all the situations in the life of a devotee. Even if there is an accidental fall down, Lord will rescue him without fail. So that is the greatness of Bhakti Yoga. But this is not true for the all other yogas, because if you take the karma, jnana, or no ashtanga, if you fall down, then you have to start all over again. But in the process of Bhakti Yoga, you will resume from where you have left from your previous life. So that is the advantage. So, have any more questions, Mataji? You are able to
Oh,
follow, right?
yes, Prabhu. Now I remember the story. I studied once. Okay, so what you are saying, Prabhu? Krishna, he is a Krishna incarnation. That's why he was created by Brahma. But since he
No, no, he is a
denied,
Shaktiavash incarnation.
yes, Shaktya incarnation.
Mm.
Since and he was created by Brahma,
Yeah, he rejected
and
his authority, right? His
he,
spiritual
he
authority is
rejected.
Brahma. Mm.
That's why he
That's
was cursed and came to Gandharva Loka.
mm.
From there, he came to Sudra son, and then from there, he elevated back to his
He went to
original
spiritual world.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah, his original thing.
he went beyond Brahmaloka. Now he can directly go to Krishna Loka also.
My Prabhu is asking.
Yeah.
He completed so many processes. Till that time, there is no Narada Muni or what?
What?
He asked.
No, I am asking Prabhu because he is moved to Gandharva and then Sarbuloka, right?
Mm.
So that whole thing is like during that time there is no Narad Muni in spiritual world.
No, not this is the actually I don't know which kalpa or which, no, there are different actors, right? So
That's
it
what I
might be in
have doubt.
Satyayuga only. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Prabhu, no Prabhu. One entire Brahma life, he goes back into the Vishnu's body, right, Prabhu? So all the jivas, everyone will go into the Vishnu body
Yeah,
again. Once
yeah,
the creation
yeah,
starts, everyone will come out.
yeah. As long as one is connected in the process of devotion service, it doesn't matter how many lifetimes he takes, but he's in devotion service, right?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
true.
Anybody have any more questions? Okay, we'll end it here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.